Now, what is being broken dictated? Being broken dictated is when a young man loses his virginity, he gets some at an early age, and it begins to drive him crazy. Okay, now I'm using DJ Academics as an example, but I'm going to give you a plethora of examples. Now, this might not be a popular message, but at the end of the day, it's going to hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt to be broken dictated, and I'm going to help you. This is for the young men out there. Now, when I was young, I'm 32, so I was in high school 2004 to 2008. You know, a lot of guys seem to think that it's a great idea to lose their virginity at a young age. And as I was saying, when I was young, the average male lost their virginity about the age of 16. Now, I mean, I didn't do the research or anything like that. It seems to be going up in age. So 18, 20, 21, people are, well, young men are starting to lose their virginity at an older age, at a slower rate. Which, with the combination of, narcissism up and not interacting with people on a hand-to-hand based level, in person, more so being on the internet, that is preventing a lot of growth and development in the human mind, right? For men, for young men. Now, DJ Academics is a great example. I'm going to give you my take on his situation. Now, I don't know it to be true, but it seems like DJ Academics does not have the best, the greatest social skills and capabilities in interacting with people, especially, the opposite sex. We do have to understand that when you can't, when you lose your virginity and you can't get any right after that, that is going to drive you crazy. If you can't have a consistent partner when it comes to that bedroom, that is going to prevent certain types of growth. And one of the solutions as a young man, of course, is to do some tricking. It's to save you a couple $1,000s, lose your virginity with a prostitute. Yes, I said it. The solution is prostitution. If you don't have a consistent girlfriend and you're not mentally mature enough, this could drive you crazy. Now, I went to high school and there was a guy named David. And David lost his virginity to a girl named Chelsea. Now, David didn't have any game about himself. David was always begging, thinking it was so fly, to beg this girl, to give him some. Because he felt in his mind, well, I'm bold enough to be able to come at this girl and promote myself as a worthy partner. I'm coming at this girl and I'm campaigning at her hard, aggressively. You know what I mean? Eventually, Chelsea broke down. I guess she was bored at some point in her life or her day, and she ended up taking David's V card. Now, this man crazy. Now, if I'm a freshman or a sophomore, he was either a sophomore or a junior. He didn't know what to do because he ultimately achieved his goal of laying down with this girl, but at the end of the day, he didn't know how to get more and more and more. So eventually, he did something very stupid. It was logical in his mind, but to convince the other girls in the school that he was worthy of them laying down with him, he then told the whole school that he was running through all these females. When I say all these females, maybe three. He lied and said that he laid down with three more females in that school, which of course backfired on him. Wasn't a good idea for David to tell everybody that he was messing with these females that he wasn't, right? Another example would be my cousin. I'm not saying he did this. He lost his virginity at a party with this girl that he liked in his high school. But, when he went back to school, she pretended like he didn't exist. She pretended like none of that happened and she didn't even know the dude. I've seen this happen before. And what happened? The person that I know, not my cousin, the person that I know that this happened to in Atlanta became an ultimate trick. Ultimate. because he didn't have enough information. He just became, he just, it just exploded inside him. He just started spending all his money. And now that's what I think DJ Academic's situation is. I think that he lost his virginity at an age where he was not mentally able to handle it. He was not mature enough to do so. And then he just went crazy. He started spending all his money. And a lot of times this becomes the virus, the sickness of bitterness in a lot of men, because we talk about how women get burned at a young age because they end up doing these things, but we don't talk about the man aspect. When I was younger, my dad told me, son, if you're gonna lose your virginity with a girlfriend. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want a girlfriend. I'm 15, 16. I just want a thotty. I just want to get my thing off and just go to the next one. But now I understand why he said that. Because when you lose your virginity, it's important for you to have that consistency. Because if you don't, it's gonna mess your mind up. You're gonna be in the crib itching and scratching and rocking, just wondering when the next time you're gonna get you some cat again. And if you don't have that, that's really gonna mess your mind up. Now, how can you tell that you're mature enough to lose your virginity? That's on you, which is why I tell you guys. This is why my advice is save your money, because the solution is prostitution. If you lose your virginity and you don't have enough information to socialize and get you some more and more and more and more, it's gonna mess with you. Now, just because you have a consistent girlfriend that's gonna give you some consistent pussy, that doesn't mean that that's not gonna happen. There was a guy, I'm gonna give you two examples. There was a guy in my school named LB. LB has some long Lil Wayne dreads. I believe he said his dreads were like 7, 8 years old. And if you do the math, we're in high school. LB was like 16. So that means he had his dreads for since he was since he was 8 or 9 years old. He got with this girl that was his girlfriend, lost his virginity to this girl. She said that she didn't like his dreads, and he cut his dreads that he's had for almost half his life, if not more. Cut his dreads. And this bitch broke up with him of less than a year later. So you threw away 7 or 8 years of commitment, of discipline, of your self-image, your power. Cut the man's dread, cut his dreads off. She suggested that he cut his dreads and he did it for some chick that he knew for less than a year and broke up with in less than a year. Cut 7 or 8 years of his dreads off his head because he was getting some consistent cat. Now we got another dude in my school, same year, named Ben. Ben was a bodybuilder. Ben was one of the best rappers in the school. Who was the best rapper in the school? Aaron Moses. And he was a football player. The really important thing about Ben is what inspired me to go harder was not the skill level that Ben was at, but he went to a talent show and rapped with his little partner and they killed it. And I wanted to get Ben on the track. Ben used to ride my bus to go see his girlfriend. And I asked him at some point, hey man, when are we gonna get on the track? And he was like, nah man, I'm done with the rap right now. I'm just trying to focus on my relationship. And I'm thinking like, your relationship, dude, we are in high school. You're not gonna know this bitch in a year and a half. So you wanna throw away your passion, all your potential to be a great rapper for this pimple head ass bitch? Like what the fuck? What is wrong with you? And then guess what? They broke up right after that. Broken dick did it. I'm not saying that Ben didn't have enough information to be able to attract another mate, but that was not a good decision. Broken dick did it. When you get when you lose your virginity, when you get some pussy, and then at the end of the day, you can't replace that. You can't keep getting more and more and more. And that's gonna mess with your mind. That's gonna mess up how you perceive women. You guys might end up doing some weird stuff. end up being creepy. And this is where we get incels. This is where we get a lot of creepy people. This is where we get people who are constantly masturbating, who constantly don't get their goals accomplished, constantly smoking weed. If you see a young person that is constantly smoking weed, it's probably because they're broken addicted. It's probably because they got some pussy one, two times, and they just can't figure out how to get more. They can't figure out how to socialize. And that's gonna spill over into your adulthood, and you're gonna become a weirdo. You're gonna become an ultra trick. You're gonna become a Super Saiyan 5 trick. And I'm not saying this is exactly where tricks come from or tricking comes from. But at a young age, you need to be out there socializing. You do not need to be a DJ Academics. Now, DJ Academics said the whole thing about the 16-year-old and being in college, they got a college ID. That's something that a person who was broken addicted it would say. Because you wouldn't be so thirsty. You wouldn't be so desperate. You wouldn't put yourself in a position where you can get your freedom taken away and and put a scar on your reputation as a thirsty person. So at the end of the day, make sure you can handle it. How do you know when you can handle it? When you can socialize and replace it. Before you lose your virginity, before you get some, and I need you guys to like this video, share it for the young men out there so they don't destroy their lives. How do you know when you're mature enough? To be honest, I don't have the answer for that. How do you know when it's okay for you to be able to lose your virginity, bro? Because the thing about it is, you'll never know how much somebody means to you, how much this little romantic relationship means to you, which is, it's not real 9 times out of 10. You might like somebody, you got some things in common, but you're still a kid. There's no real answer. It's case by case, individual type of situation. But at least know that if this person leaves, you're not going to be so emotionally messed up where you're going to become bitter, which you won't know that until you go through it. You're not going to become bitter. You're not going to become judgmental. And you could actually replace this person without you becoming emotional before you try to interact with another woman on a sexual level. If you don't know, just be able, just know yourself enough to be able to emotionally have sex with somebody else physically. That's how you prevent it. You know how they say, I don't even like this whole, because it's very bitchy, but how to get over a person, get under another one. Like that's weird sounding, but at least be able to replace your partner as a young person. Now, a lot of you know yourselves enough to say, man, I don't want to have sex with this girl because if I can't get some more pussy in like a week, or if I can't have consistent sex at least 2, 3 times a month, then I shouldn't do this. If you know that in your heart, if you know that in your mind, bro, if you know that in your mind, then go ahead and don't do that. Nobody says it's about having a plan for your life and the person in your life. I'm talking about the young men. I'm not talking about, if you're losing your virginity at an old age like me, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 20 or 21. But at that point, see, I was popping, I was on them scripts. I was drinking, I was smoking weed. So me not having that consistency when it came to the pussy didn't really matter to me because I was on probation. I was scared all the time. I was high. That's just, and the thing about it is, I'll tell you this. The thing about it is, when I got some pussy for the first time, it wasn't good. I didn't enjoy myself like that. To a climax because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the angles. I didn't know my body. I didn't know her body. So it wasn't, to my memory, me having sex for the first time. It wasn't all of that. I'll say that. Now, because it was so long ago, because it was 12, 13 years long ago, my memory doesn't serve me well as far as the quality of that woman's body, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I gotta get some more of this. This is why people been dying for millions of years over this. No, the first thing I thought was, are you serious? This is what people are paying all this money for? This is cool, but mm, it's not really all of that. Like I really didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you the God's honest truth. I didn't really get to appreciate the pussy until like the third time I had some. I don't know if it was probably the first time I was out my mind high. I was drunk. I smoked a little bit, and I popped a couple scripts. So I don't really remember. I know I lasted a very long time, very long. I'm talking about I was in that thing for a good 3 hours. I stopped like twice, but it took me like 3 hours to get where I was going. You know what I'm saying? The second time I had on the condom, which is another thing. If you use a condom when you lose your virginity, you still a virgin. No, I'm just playing. Always wear condoms as much as possible. You can't afford a baby. If you don't even know how you're gonna react to the pussy, and you don't have a condom and you get her pregnant, that's a no bueno, man. That's like some 1970s type of stuff. Lose your virginity and have a baby the first time? I'm glad that wasn't me. But at the end of the day, it's not a good thing. Just make sure you can replace that situation over and over and over. You don't want to be in that position where you're just like, I need to get some more. How can I get? The solution is prostitution. And I do want you to know that there's nothing wrong with buying a prostitute. You gotta spend you 250. I don't know how much it costs. I googled it. It said about $250. Make sure that you save up like a good 1,500. So if your girlfriend breaks up with you, you could just go ahead and handle that, man. Go on bed. I don't even want to give you the site, but go ahead and handle that. But it's just not a good plan. Like this is where a lot of not CSI, Law and Order SVU, Special Victims Unit type of situations come in. This is where a lot of DJ academics letting women treat him because you as a man you do have to be confident in that bedroom, confident in your abilities, and the only way to do that, like yeah, you could watch some videos, you could watch the little X video websites and get some kind of understanding, but you can't get the full understanding unless you stand in that thing. You know what I mean? You got to get your body right. You got to have your mind right. You could read books and do things like that, and you could study gynecology and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's really no way. This is why having a girlfriend is a good thing because you get to learn some things. They're all pretty similar as far as the parts, they all have the same part. They all got the same thing. They all come standard pretty much. But as far as angles and depth and just a lot of things I don't really want to go into because I don't know how YouTube is as far as this topic. But just the experimentation and just having the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of how certain things work on a woman's body, I mean, that's very important, having that confidence. And even a prostitute or a sex worker will help you in that department because they're professionals and they know what you need to know and they want you to feel confident and they might want you to come back. They might be on visitation or whatever in your area, but very important. The patience, they're not gonna laugh at you. The first time, when I lost my virginity, this bitch laughed at me. I mean, of course, I'm 20, 21, so she's expecting me, and look at this face. Like, people just think, just looking at me like I just always got all of this. No, I got a lot of offers, but I was always an introvert and I was always thugging, and I didn't want any distractions because having your heart in a woman's chest and a woman's heart in your chest is not a good thing when you're in the street like that. It's not really good for you because it becomes a distraction. You start acting irrationally. You miss a lot of money laying up with a female. I don't know that from experience because I made the wise decision not to get romantically involved with a woman when I was in the street doing my thing, but I could imagine that a lot of things go on. A lot of people, I've seen people miss money because they wanted to go to the park or the beach with their girlfriend or go on a date. I'm like, bro, I'm on the way. You need to tell her to go home. She can't come with me. Because if we get pulled over, I don't want her telling anything that she does or does not know. Just leave her at the crib. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna just kick it with my girl today, man. I'm not trying to go out there and rob. I'm like, bro, you gonna mess my money up now? I gotta rob these people with a stranger, or I gotta wait till you get done playing with that girl in the bed. Like, come on, bro. But being broke and addicted is not a good thing. It's not good for your mental health. Uh, like I said, with David lying, saying that he slept with all these women in the school, and then he didn't know how to talk his way, and he thought of the strategy to convince other girls in the school that he was getting so much thrown at him, and he was just experienced, and all these women just thought he was just so cool in the bedroom. So if they think you're cool in the bedroom, if they think I'm cool in the bedroom, come on and ride this train. Like, that was a dumb solution. He could have just, if he wouldn't have did that, if he could have just thought a little more clearly instead of thinking with his penis, then his life would have been a lot smoother. Okay? And then when you make the conscious decision instead of saying, you know what, I don't know why none of these girls want to talk to me. You know what, I'm just gonna go buy it. If you know logically, look, I lost my virginity at this party, I slipped up. I slipped on a banana peel and fell in some pussy, like RIP Simple the P might have said. I slipped on a banana peel and fell inside this woman's vagina. I didn't really do anything to try to have sex with her. We were both just drunk or high at a party. Definitely don't do that. And I didn't really try. I didn't even put too much effort in getting this pussy. So I got to go outside and get some more. I got to pay for it because I don't have the social skills to get more. If you logically make that decision and you don't come at that decision at an emotional standpoint or you're not embarrassed, then you're handling that decision. You're handling that choice. Look, I might have to work some extra shifts because I scratched that itch one time. I opened Pandora's box. Now I want to get some more sex. Like, you just got to do it, man. It is what it is. If you can't socialize and do it, at least, if you don't develop the social skills, at least know what you're doing. That's my whole point. If you can't socialize with a female, with your peers, and get some more sex, at least save your money because I'm telling you, not from my personal experience, but from what I've seen, when you get it once, you're going to want to get more of it and more of it and more of it. Now, yeah, it's good. It's cool now. I have a great relationship with the vagina now, but back then I just didn't care really like that because, like I said, maybe whatever was in them pills just deactivated the nerves in my joint. But I was just like, this is cool, but I don't see why people get their heads blown off every day for this little piece of skin right here, this wet piece of little stinky skin, and then the girl I lost my virginity with, she had a yeast infection. Now, my mom put me on a little bit of game when I was young. My mom told me, son, when you start having sex, you need to put your finger in it first and then see if anything comes off on your finger. And if not, smell it. Make sure it smells good. And I said, what is it supposed to smell like? She said, it's supposed to smell like nothing. If it smells like anything, don't put your penis in it, even with a condom. The first time I lost my virginity, I took my mom's advice. Plus, I didn't really know where a vagina was or how it was supposed to feel. I put my I put my finger in the vagina, pulled it out, and there was some brown stuff on it. I was like, I'm going in anyway. But it, I shouldn't have did that. See, that was me just being thirsty and high and drunk, and I just was like, man, I'm finally getting there. So let me just go ahead and handle this, because I could walk outside tomorrow and get hit by. I want to die a virgin. I'm already not going to heaven. Let me make sure I'm not going to that month because I might have a couple seconds to clear my mind and repent. But let me make sure that I'm not up there with all the baby angels. Like, you didn't get what? Why are you in the baby part of heaven? Because I'm a virgin. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I didn't want to be with the baby angels. I wanted to kick it with the grown angels with big titties if I had to die. You feel me? But at the end of the day, man, just take this advice. Show this video to a young man. Being broke and addicted can destroy your life. If you get it once, make sure you can get it twice, whether you have to pay for it or whether you could hold a conversation and seduce a woman and compel her to give you some of that some of that stuff between her legs.